Alright, thank you very much. Hello everybody, yes, it's your good friend Pozzible here, and I'm back in action with a movie review of Stripes, the Bill Murray classic from the early 80s. This is one of those really classic movies that came out a while back, much longer now that I think about it, and it's a very fascinating story, both behind the screen scenes and on the scenes. Starting off with on the scenes, you basically have a guy, he's a loser, he really lost himself, he doesn't like where his life is going, so he decided he's going to join the army. He actually gets his best friend to come in with him, and you know what, they find out very quickly once they get into boot camp that him and the army really aren't the best fit for each other, ultimately because he likes to have a sense of humor and make a joke out of everything, whereas the army, they like the characters that play the captain and the sergeant take things very seriously. You have the normal drill sergeant cliches, him doing push-ups all the time. This was an 80s version of the army, so things were a little bit, I think, more different than they are today. And, they had the same speech that you'll hear in every movie. I swear to God, if there's one thing that's get copied more than anything else, it's the sergeant's speech about how your mama's not here and they're gonna bust your ass and turn you into soldiers and stuff like that. That said, it's the survival of boot camp, which is what this is a majority about. In the middle of things, they lose their sergeant, and they might just lose, be dismissed from the army, or they had to repeat boot camp. And it's interesting because Bill Murray, despite the fact that nobody really cares for him, is quite the leader when he really has to be. He's somebody who ultimately doesn't really care. He's just going through life kind of on a whim. His only thing really ultimately is just to get laid. One of the scary parts about this movie for me is that, growing up with these people, it was made back in 1981, 1982, I think it's 81, but anyway, you're going back in time now and you're seeing these people when they were, very young. Bill Murray was just in his early 30s when he made this movie. John Candy was very young. He's still alive. And, despite the fact that he was still the big guy, the heavy-set guy, he was still the guy who could probably kill you with one punch type of person, There's a lot of jokes in here. Very funny movie, but not as funny as I expected it to be. And I feel that one thing that killed the movie for me ultimately was the hype. I've been waiting a long time to see this movie. Everyone telling me how laugh out loud funny it was. It wasn't that funny, but it was still a good movie. It was still a good quality movie. Good acting, good story, even a good special effects and 80s technology, if you know what I mean. Most of you probably won't, but when you watch it, you'll understand. Stripes, of course, get to see it. One thing I did mention was that the story had a very interesting background story. Some interesting background story. The director, Irving Reitman, I knew that, basically said that he got a lot of cooperation from the army, despite the fact that the movie made the army look like buffoons. Not as bad as you would expect. I guess we have a different idea of, when you make someone look bad, what you're doing. I mean, you had one character who was a captain who wasn't very good, a very young babyface John Larroquette. In some very funny scenes. He was one of the funniest people in the movie. It's so funny because John Larroquette I felt was funny without really trying. Bill Murray, not that funny, yet he tried really hard to be funny. Very interesting past story, very interesting story. Fun movie to watch if you have some time. I definitely say see it. Alright guys, that's it for me today. There'll be more reviews to come, so take it easy.